Hello, everyone. This is Jelunas from CGTrader. I'm a product owner, and today I'm going to walk you through our new analytics tool in order to show you, wait a second, some sound feedback. Yes, can everyone hear me well? And can you please express that in the comments if you hear me well? Nice. Okay, so first of all, thank you all for joining us today. And we're going to talk about analytics, including our brand new marketplace statistics tab and my model section and model improvements. And I'm going to walk you through everything we have here. You can always stop me and ask questions and comments, and I will try to take them into account and stop from time to time to answer them. After the quick session, when I will walk through everything, I will be able to answer any further questions you might have regarding analytics. And even if you want to know something more about CGTrader, I'm here to answer that. Okay. So we will start with the thing that we are most proud of, our new marketplace statistics tab. Basically, we started this project in order to tackle one of the biggest problems our community members, designers, sellers, just like you have. And the problem is that basically they not always know what to model next, and what is going to sell on the market, and what people search for, and how do one or other model perform in terms of sales and pricing and so on. But we had all this data internally for quite some time. Of course, it took a long time to make sense of it. But I think we managed to do that, and I'm proud to present our beautiful tool, marketplace statistics, and I'm gonna run through this. Okay. Again, just stop me if you have any questions. I have one of my eyes, the left one, on the comment section, and the right one's on the screen. Okay, so first of all, in marketplace statistics, we have 4 subsets of 100 keywords, including categories, subcategories, model tags, and deficit keywords. All of these subsets, or reports, if you will, have 100 keywords listed in terms of their performance by score. Now, keyword statistics come from 2 sources, basically. One is what you have built in attached to models, meaning model tags and model titles. And the other source is what customers search for in our search bar here. So all of these keywords in all 4 subsets are ranked by score, which basically is our final recommendation on what keywords you should take into account when thinking on what to model next. Score is an aggregate formula that brings you all the keywords in the subset ranked by their performance. I sadly cannot reveal you what our secret sauce in this is, but I can tell you that it takes in that score takes into account all that we have here, including count of models, average price of those models, their sales performance, searches, and liquidity, which is also one of our secret sauce thingies. So how to make sense of this table? Again, first of all, we try to do the job for you and rank all the keywords, all top 100 keywords by their score. And this is a default preset, and you see all the keywords sorted descending by the score. But you can use other columns to see whether you have a chance to succeed in some niche in the market, or maybe you should tackle something else. For example, the models section talks about how many models there are in the marketplace currently published regarding one or other keyword. For example, we have 1,129 models marked with tag people, and 2,500 marked with human, and so on, and they're quite good ranking. But if I was to sort the models by the biggest ones, the biggest tags, of course, we have almost 19,000 interior models, furniture, jewelry ranks good, and so on. So basically, this column tells you your competition, how many models you will have to compete against to get the customer's attention and customers' basically decision to buy. Once you click on the bar, on the green bar that represents models, you will see additional information of all the models with that keyword, in this case interior, puts in buckets based on their quality. Now, quality is, of course, somewhat of a subjective thing, but we rank every model on CGTrader internally based on their quality score. So what you have here is our internal ranking, 1 to 10. As you can see, interior models are quite well produced. They have the highest, the biggest bucket ranking 9 at 9. So that means that in order to grab customers' attention, you might have to really do really good quality model. Because we have 9,000 that are of good quality already. But yeah, and then that's about it regarding this. We can check one more example. For example, what do we have here? Let's take something very different. Character. Yeah, this is a little more dispersed. We have character models not only top heavy in terms of quality, but the distribution is more wide here. The second column we have is average price, and here you see 2 bars. So the upper bar, the gray one, always shows the average listing price. That means that we take into account all these, in this case, 4,500 models. Yes, we have a question. I'll finish this and I'll return to the question. Yeah, we take all the models into account, and we basically just take their average price. In this case, it's 20. And the lower bar represents how what's the average price the models are sold for. So in this case, food models, like every customer that we take all the purchases with food models, divide them by count of purchases, and we get an average of 12. So if the lower bar is red, that means that customers might actually look for cheaper models or lower quality models. And yeah, and I will turn to question right now. Does community rating also influences analytics models' quality ranks? No, it is not the case. Or yes? No, it is not the case. We take only, well, mostly technical specification of the model and how well it is produced, and we'll look at the details of it. And basically, The quality rating, quality rank is derived by just looking at how well the model is produced and how soon the customer could use it after purchasing. Does that answer your question? Okay, so let's return. I think, yeah, I got a confirmation. There's a slight delay between me and the chat, so sorry for that. Let's get back to the average price. So if I click on the average price cell, I can see the distribution of model listing prices on top. Again, that takes into account how many models, what percentage of models with, in this case, food, fall into which price bucket in terms of listing. Well, that means how much, at what cost the designers value these models. And in the lower section, we see what's the most often bucket at which the customers purchase these models. So we can see that in this case, buyers choose, well, mostly models that are ranked under $20, even though there's quite a bunch of those that are at $20, $30, listed at $20, $30. Yeah. What's next? Next, we have a sales column. Sales column lists, again, ranks all the subset in terms of how well the models are sold, how often they're sold, and basically what's the market for them. And this is no surprise that character models are quite popular between our buyers. And again, I have additional data in this. If I was to click on the green bar here, I would see how many models were sold. So basically, in this case, in character case, we can make an estimated guess that customers choose the models that are well, basically more or less the same models. So the ones that are better ranking, have better quality, have a good price to quality ratio, and so on. But if we were to take another example, for example, exterior models are sold to 15%, human 31%, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Then we have our searches column. Searches basically speak how often one or other keyword is input in our search field, and customer presses enter. So in this case, if I was to enter a car here, I would see an additional value here, well, prior to rounding up. And again, we can see all of the 100 keywords sorted by, well, basically searches, how often they're searched for. Yeah. Sorry for that. And then we have liquidity. Liquidity, as you can see in the info tooltip, and I would suggest you to visit every info tooltip here. Liquidity speaks about sales to number of models ratio, which basically you should keep an eye at this if you want to come up with the model that will perform well historically and basically will not get old. Yeah, and again, at the end, we have our score section, which I talked about in the beginning. And all the 100 keywords are listed by their score. Now, the natural question here is, if, let's say, we take restaurant, for example, which has a score only of 1.3. Should I not model restaurants? Do restaurants perform badly? The answer to that is no. You should definitely model restaurants if that's your thing, because again, we take in these subsets top 100 keywords, meaning that there are numerous and thousands of keywords that are performing worse than these top 100. If liquidity is 100, does that mean all the models at that category were sold? No, it does not mean that. If liquidity is 100, we can tell that that keyword performs the best amongst this subset. It does not mean that all the keywords were sold, but it means that in this case, people perform better than spaceship, robot, head, skull, and everything else that goes to the bottom. Does that answer your question? Okay, we have a slight delay here again. Yeah, let's go back then to our table. Okay, yeah, I got a confirmation. Okay, so we talked basically about what's in the table, but we did not talk about the difference between the subsets here, the reports, if you will. So categories, subcategories, the difference between categories and subcategories is that subcategories are keywords in this set are less popular, and they have less models and less searches, but they're top ranking amongst a certain threshold, which we will keep internally. But basically, in subcategories, you will generally not see such high numbers in models and all the other means that are hidden behind the normalization of 1 to 100. Yeah, so basically with the same goes for model tags. This is just even less popular category, but again, that means that if there's less models and less searches, people still look for those models and they still get sold. So I would suggest you to take into account the keywords from all three subsets, because again, they're the top ranking keywords, top 300 amongst our marketplace, and you should definitely look into those. Among the subset or report or tab, if you want to call it that, you will see again all these scores, the last 4 columns normalized from 1 to 100. The number indicates, for example, in this case 2.4, the number indicates how well it performs 1 to 100 amongst all marketplace keywords, and the green bar indicates the length of the green bar, let's say, indicates how well the keyword performs in the 100 keyword section. So in this case, watercraft is the best performing keyword in terms of sales in model tags subset. But all the columns are still the same, and you can still use them the same way. And again, there are no right answers whether you should look for categories, subcategories, or model tags. They all are well-performing keywords, and we suggest you to model basically anything from those top 100, top 300 keywords, and you will get a better chance to sell your models and create a model that performs well against time. One thing you should look for, though, is yeah, we have a question. Are categories, subcategories, and model tags all based on keywords entered by sellers? Yes, they are. Again, keywords put in by sellers in model tags and model titles. And searches come from whatever customer searches for here in the search section. Yeah, so as I was telling, one thing you should really look for is some sort of let's say continuity or pattern between the three subsets, and maybe you could find something is really specific to model. For example, I did not check the analytics today in depth, but we can find spaceship here, or let's say robot here, and maybe in subcategories we'll see something like anime. So why not do a anime robot? And maybe we could find something even more defining your next model in the model tag section. For example, dungeon, probably not the word. Yeah, maybe it's not here. Well, ninja. Yeah, so we can do an anime ninja robot, and that has a chance to perform well in the marketplace because it fits different needs. Yeah, and the last tab we have here is deficit keywords, and these are really well, the tab defines it itself. They're deficit in the marketplace. We do not have a lot of models with these keywords, but we have quite a few searches, and that means that there is demand. If you were to basically fill in the supply for these, you have a good chance of selling. And yeah, as you can see, searches column is almost not almost. It's basically, it has a mean every time, but we do not have models for these things. And you will generally see some odd words here or trending words, which people not all people know what they mean. For example, what's PM1? I don't know, and I can use the Google Images icon here to guide me and see what's PM1. Let's do that. So we see it's some sort of audio interface, audio brand. Maybe it's a speaker, maybe it's a sound card, external sound card, something like that. So that gives you quite a initial understanding what's the thing about, and you can try to fill in the niche with these keywords. And again, if I already told you about the Google icon, Google Images icon, we have two more icons next to almost all keywords. That's CGTrader search icon, which basically shows you what we have on the marketplace with that keyword. And there's a search icon, which is analytics search icon, which I will show you how it works in a minute. So the keyword search, analytics keyword search, you can find it at the bottom of every report. It's here, and you can just one moment. I have a question. Deficit keywords is a good tool to see, check for forbidden. Yes, that is true, and yeah, we try to moderate those as good as possible. And thanks for the insight. Yeah, cough. Okay, back to keyword search. Keyword search is an internal analytic search that gives you even more specificity in terms of it gives you 2 or 3 phrase words with the keyword. I can enter a keyword here, or I can just click an icon next to any word in the subsets, and it will bring me a better idea, better specificity on what, in this case, people models I should invest my time and resources in. Yeah, so we see that people pack is definitely a good performing combo, and seated people and sitting people, that's basically the same. So you should definitely look for things like that. Crowd people, people sit again. So we have I can tell you right now, your good bet is to make sitting people models. And yeah, we have business people, beach people. Basically, that defines you what sort of people models you should invest your time in. And again, we give you 10 here, but if we have data, you can always expand the table and see more. And another cool thing about this is we have not only 2-word phrases, we also have 3-word phrases. But with people, we have only one who's above a certain threshold, and our internal system. So that's swimming pool people. But we recommend you that you should look to maybe invest time in that. Let's take another example. Space, cockpit, base, corridor, sci-fi model. So you have quite a sorry for that, quite a good bet performing well in the marketplace if you yeah, guys, we had some technical difficulties. Let me know if YouTube is working again. I will wait for a few seconds in the comment section. Okay, so sorry for that. Yeah, let's continue. Where did I lose you? I guess I was 2-word phrases with the word spaceship in them. So again, cockpit spaceship is the best performing keyword duo, and in Google Images references, you can see basically look. Yeah. Do you have any questions regarding the analytics so far? Okay, so let's go back to analytics, and we covered marketplace statistics, and I will, as mentioned before, I will be able to answer your questions after the session. But let's briefly look at two other tabs we have here. First being My Models tab, and then Model Improvements. So my models tell you about how well your models perform in terms of its age, views, likes, sales, conversion, and revenue. So it's basically a similar place or tool that you have in my sales section, but it's this one gives you info on a per model basis. As you can see, I'm not such a good modeler, and I only have a test model for $1,000, and I hope no one buys that because it's terrible. Yeah, but you will be able to see in your tables that you can sort everything and search for your models if you have more than me. And yeah, so this basically is one resource for your model performance. Do you plan to remap conversion range? Yes, we. I will generally tell you that we plan to tweak and improve this in general, because basically this comes from the old analytics, but we will definitely improve this, so keep your eyes open on that. It's useless in its current form. Well, thanks for your feedback. It gives us a kick in the ass for moving forward. Yeah, and model improvements. What do we have here? Basically, we bring you info on your publishing score here for all of your models. What's a publishing score? Well, basically, you should look at publishing score as a tool for you to understand how well generally your models are represented. Representation comes in images, in formats, number of formats, in the length of description, in how many tags you add, and in the end you have your final model score, which is terrible in my test model case. It's 2.7, but again, there's every red indication is a chance for improvement, and let's try that. If I was to click on edit, I would end up in publisher, and I could add some image of Brian. Let's do that. And we had 2.7 just now. Let's save this and see if additional image helps. Yeah, it did help a bit, so it's not that hard. You can look how to improve your models in this way. Sorry for that. How do the score affect your model? Can you please specify this in more detail, your question? Because basically it does not affect your model in any direct way, except for, well, it's words discoverable. Maybe buyers don't feel so safe purchasing it, or don't find it at all because there are no insufficient info on them. So it basically publishing score in sort of indirect way can influence how your model performs. Does that answer your question? Yeah, and as I'm waiting for feedback again, yeah, does model appears higher in search based on score? We cannot disclose that. I'm sorry for that, but basically, I will put it this way: if you don't have a tag in your model and a customer searches for that exact keyword, there's a low chance the customer will discover what you're selling. So again, in an indirect way, it affects your appearance in search results. Is there some way of showing all the models, not just few words? Yes, that's one of the things we're sort of discussing right now internally, and we will probably most likely show you all the models in the future. But right now you are presented with your worst in terms of publishing score, and I'm sure they're still better than my model. Does the score help your model in recommendation and in search? So again, that's a really similar question to what we had just a few seconds ago. It helps you in terms of discoverability. Again, if you don't have a certain keyword in your model, and the customer looks for that keyword, there's a lower chance he will find it. Textures and 3D print models are hard to achieve good score. Do you have plans to improve that? Again, we are thinking about this, and yeah, we will basically look at what our data says and then make a decision. And yeah, well, in general, I can tell you that we want to make analytics accessible to everyone, and we will look at ways to improve everyone's experience. So that's one of the things I have on my to-do to analyze list regarding textures and 3D print models. Great questions, by the way. Can you give me some more? Yeah, any other questions regarding analytics or CGTrader? Yeah, I see that according to the new analytics, majority of categories are overpriced, yet I remember that the old analytics had show quite a few categories as underpriced. I think that if you, well, the difference between new analytics and old analytics were that the previous analytics, the old ones, were based on categories and subcategories, basically what we have here. And the new analytics take into account not only that, but also model tags. So they're, let's say, a bit more precise. But to answer to your question, there still are a lot of categories that are underpriced, and I think that You will notice those in your tables quite well. Just spend time, invest your time in looking through analytics, and you will find those. But again, that's not the only thing that you should be looking at, and you should take everything into account. Do you notice that buyers favor price over quality recently? Well, that's a good philosophical question, and I think the answer to that is, again, is one of the reasons we made analytics, because there's no answer that covers all the cases. It depends on the buyer, on the supply he has to choose from, and a lot of other factors. So we basically want everyone to get that answer to themselves, and that's why we have this price comparison tool. And oh, look, railway is underpriced, basically. Yeah, sorry for that. I have a sort of early spring cough. Yeah. Yeah, so it's again regarding the price and quality, it's for everyone to decide. But what we noticed is that, for example, models with the PBR workflow perform really well, and that's another thing that we're looking into, how to encourage sellers to create PBR models. That's one of the insights I can tell you right now. Sorry if you already talked about, no worries about that. Could you make an example on how to use analytics to decide which model to create next? Whoa, okay, I can do that. Basically, it comes down to your portfolio, what you're specialized in and what you're good at. But let's say I'm good at making figures, characters, and so on. What character should I look into here? I see in categories that I have what can be a character. A female can be a character. A robot can be a character. A human can be a character. So robot is a good example, right? I can take robot as my starting point, and I can look for to model alien robot, because these two keywords perform good, and anime robot maybe, and robot person or robot from Earth, something like that. And I can find something related to that in model tag section. But I can also just click on the search icon to see what keywords perform well together. So bad robot, flying robot, Android robot are things that I should probably look at, and maybe spend my time to develop that. And if you didn't join us from the beginning, there we have a 3-word phrase section where you can find that people also model praying mantis robots. So yeah, does that answer your question? And there are actually myriad of ways you can use analytics. Again, I would just encourage you to spend time, use our forum if you have any questions. We always want to we always keep one eye on that, and we will answer everything with examples and maybe help you develop your ideas. Anything else? Not necessarily related to analytics now? Awesome, thank you. No, you're awesome for being with CGTrader. That's the manual. Yeah, okay, guys. I think that covers it. Thanks for not tying advanced analytics to sales volume, but rather to sell. Yeah. You're welcome. Anyway, okay, guys, I see that the questions have run out, more or less. Again, you can use our forum for any further questions, or you can just contact me directly at CGTrader here. Just drop me a message. As you can see, my response rate and response time are not so good. So if I take some time, just don't worry. You're still on my list, and I will get back to you. I will add this to resources also. And yeah, thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with CGTrader. Keep your head up, and we're gonna launch some exciting things really soon, and we will cover that in maybe this format as well, because it's quite cool, right? Thank you. That's good.